YouTube, what's good, man? It's your boy Datway52, aka Mario. Yo, I was looking for something to react to, and I was scrolling through, and then this had popped up. This was uploaded 10 hours ago. Shout out to Grunge. I don't own this video, they own the video, so go subscribe to the Grunge. And look, it's a Van Halen video, but it's not like a music, it's not like a live video, it's not a crazy guitar solo we know Eddie for doing. None of that. This is 11 times Van Halen went too far. And yeah, like I just want to get this out of the way. Yeah, we see the amazing playing. We see the impact the band's had. We see Eddie's life after his death. How much people are still trying to get this 1978 Van Halen one tone, and they still can't figure it out. Some people have, but then again, they could be off a little bit. I don't know. But at the same time, there's always a dark side to the band, because you know Eddie's alcoholism, like what's taking over and all that. I mean, losing teeth, all that. I mean, all that crazy stuff. You guys know the story if you guys are real Van Halen fans, because I looked into it. But yeah, we're gonna check this out, man. 11 times Van Halen went too far. So you guys know how much we love Van Halen, but we're gonna see what this is about. Not too much on my boy though. Not too much on my boy Eddie. That's all I'm saying. But let's get it, man. Shout out to Grunge. Let's go.
Van Halen may be one of the most influential rock bands ever, but it's the group's behind-the-scenes antics that have made for the wildest headlines. Van Halen had only been a group for a few years, gigging around the Los Angeles area, when they got one of their earliest and potentially biggest breaks in 1976. Major British hard rock group UFO asked Van Halen to open for them in a show at the Golden West Ballroom, a venue in Norwalk, California. Van Halen performed well, but things took a dark turn after the concert for lead guitarist Eddie Van Halen. After he came off stage, a drug dealer offered the guitarist some cocaine, which he immediately ingested. Not 10 minutes later, drummer Alex Van Halen found his brother just as he passed out and began seizing. Eddie was taken to a hospital where the band members learned that he'd actually been given PCP, or angel dust, a powerful hallucinogenic drug. While receiving emergency medical care,
Is there even PCP anymore? You don't even hear that anymore. You hear fentanyl all the time. Is there even PCP anymore? The last time I heard of PCP was Training Day. And he didn't even, wait, now that I'm saying that, he didn't even say that, but I bet you that's what it was. He was smoking angel dust in Training Day. And then in Friday too. It's angel dust, Holmes.
Eddie briefly flatlined before doctors were able to get his heart beating again, saving the young musician's life. Throughout the 70s and into the 1980s, Van Halen loved to party with female fans, but one night with a camcorder resulted in an accidental and very scandalous sex tape.
It's fun.
Yeah.
You know?
You seem to have a good time.
The tape made its way to one of the band's managers, Marshall Burl, who showed it to members of Van Halen's label, Warner Brothers Records. The musicians got word and became irate, and they decided to take their revenge with another.
Bruh, why would the manager take it to Warner Brothers? Bruh, just get rid of the tape. Just get rid of the tape. What the hell? You trying to get these guys kicked off the label when they're probably the hottest goddamn band at the time. What the hell's wrong with this manager? Get rid of this manager. What the hell's going on here?
Their manager, Noel Monk, members of Van Halen busted into Burl's business office in Hollywood. Then they systematically removed anything and everything with a Van Halen mention or connection. That included RIAA gold discs the band had gifted Burl, along with various memorabilia and merchandise.
Oh yeah, we taking all that back. You showed what? You trying to probably get what? Yeah, we taking all this back. Give it back. Give it all back. Yeah, that's crazy. What the hell? That's like when I was watching the Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson sex tape. Like I thought they leaked that, or like they tried to sell it. It turns out somebody broke into their safe and took it, and stuff like that. And it's like, but I don't know. This ain't like it's not the same thing, but it's kind of like bruh, just destroy the tape. Like that's weird. Like I've never made a sex tape in my life. Like that is crazy. Shout out my girl, man. Cause she ain't into none of that. I'd be joking with her like, hey, let's make a tape. She's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm calm down. But yeah, that's wild. Just destroy the tape. Why are you taking it to Warner Brothers?
In 1983, Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak attempted a modern-day Woodstock, where Van Halen performed. The gig arrived after 3 months of touring and the heavy drug use that went with it. Before the set, lead singer David Lee Roth spoke with MTV's Mark Goodman. Goodman later said of the encounter, he was drunk and coked up, laughing at every joke he made. After putting it off for 3 hours, Van Halen finally took the stage, but Roth could hardly perform. Wozniak wrote in his memoir, I Was, Computer Geek to Cult Icon, that Roth was so smashed he could hardly stand up, adding, he was so drunk, slurring and forgetting lyrics and everything.
Damn.
Destroying hotel rooms
bad.
became a matter of course for Van Halen as part of the rock star lifestyle. After their very first out-of-state headline show, the band got an
Trashing hotel rooms. I feel like that's every rock star. I literally feel like that's every rock star. Like I was watching The Dirt, and then you listen to the actual band members, and they're like, "Oh man, we fucked up every hotel room." Like I feel like that's what you have to do when you're a rock star. Like boom, throw the TV out the window, break the desk, boom, throw the fridge on the ground. Like you got to do all that, man. You're a rock star. Like what the hell? Just like how it is, like having sex with every girl. Like, oh, he's a rock star. Like it's the same shit. So this is not out of the ordinary. Thrashing hotel rooms, like you guys are the pinnacle, the best. What the hell? I'm doing the same shit. Hey, catch this, boom. That's crazy though. Thrashing hotel rooms, holy moly, that bill was probably wild.
In a fire extinguisher fight at the Madison Sheraton Hotel in Wisconsin, tore the band got in a fire extinguisher fight at the Madison Sheraton Hotel in Wisconsin, tore apart their individual rooms' furniture, and taped fish to multiple ceilings, according to Paul Brannigan's Unchained, the Eddie Van Halen story. And it wasn't just U.S. hotel rooms that got destroyed. In 1978, their bad behavior got them kicked out of Scotland. That year, Van Halen's first self-titled studio album received gold status from the Recording Industry Association of America. The members were on tour in Scotland when they learned of their achievement, and to celebrate, they got drunk off scotch and then used shoe polish to write the Van Halen logo on hotel walls. The next day, the rock stars were evicted from their hotel rooms and forced to leave Scotland. In 1984, MTV held a contest, and the prize was a weekend with Van Halen. The winner was 20-year-old Kurt Jeffries of Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, who brought along his 19-year-old friend Tom Winnick. Giveaway promos promised a wild party.
You'll have no idea where you're going, and probably no memory of it after you go.
Van Halen delivered. Jeffries and his friend were flown in a private jet to Detroit, where they stayed in a hotel room filled with Van Halen merchandise, some of it X-rated. They then went to Van Halen's dressing rooms at the Cobo Arena and met Eddie Van Halen, whose wife, Valerie Bertinelli, gave the underage contest winners cocktails and shots. In 2020, Winnick told Vulture, "We were not without a drink for the rest of the time." After watching the concert from prime seats, Jeffries got pulled on.
See this, like this right here, getting fans drunk, like they won a contest and everything. It's like, what was the guy 20 and the other guy was 19? It's like, bruh, I'm not gonna say you are, but I'm also not gonna give you the benefit of the doubt either. You was probably drinking before then, dog. Like what the hell? Like 16, I was drinking beer. Like, but I don't drink that much no more. Like only like during boxing events or UFC fights or like Super Bowls. Like I don't, to be honest, like I don't drink it like rarely. But like that age, bro, it's like it just seems, how do I put this into words? Like doing stuff when you're not old enough, like is more exciting. Like now that I'm older, I'm 28. Now that I'm older and I do this stuff, I'm like, nobody's gonna tell me anything. I could just do this. Like, what the hell? Like, there's no fun in this. Like, somebody catch me. Like, this is no fun. But I don't know. And bro, you're partying with Van Halen, like, bro. Yeah, I'm getting drunk. Like, what the hell? Like, this is dumb, bro. They just want publicity or a check. Like, this. I don't know. Unless they're like really straight edge Christian, all that. I don't even want to bring religion into this. Like, they're straight edge. They don't do anything. They're, you know what I mean. But I don't know. I'm not buying into this one because you got if Eddie offered me a shot and Valerie's right there, prime Valerie Bertinelli, well, I'm taking that shot. What are we talking about? Everybody's taking that shot.
stage to drink whiskey, get sprayed with champagne, and have his face dunked in a sheet cake. After MTV's camera crew left, the real partying backstage began. Jeffries and Winnick enjoyed steak, lobster, marijuana, a tremendous amount of alcohol, cocaine inhaled off of David Lee Roth's fingernail, and the attention of a very welcoming Van Halen groupie.
I loved it. I freaking loved it, man. That was awesome.
The second day, not much happened, as Roth was sick and needed medical attention. Jeffries was so hungover he had to pretend to drink the malt liquor foisted upon him by Alex Van Halen. The weekend culminated in a dressing room food fight. In the 1980s, when Van Halen was at its commercial peak, its relentless touring schedule took it to Seattle. While in town, the group made an unannounced visit to KISW, a rock radio station that frequently played its records. Former KISW disc jockey Bo Phillips told the Houston Press in 2014, "It was just an entourage of people following them in, and all of a sudden, clothes start coming off and women start grinding and the music goes up." Van Halen's antics eventually made it onto the airwaves. Members of the band took over the studio for about 3 hours. Phillips recalled, "David Lee Roth is getting more and more provocative on the phone as people are calling in. I was worried that the FCC was going to make a surprise visit, and there was cake all over the floor."
When the party was over, the entire control room was soaked with champagne.
In 1996, Van Halen was a surprise presenter at the MTV Video Music Awards, but at the mic was the band's original frontman, David Lee Roth, rather than its lead singer of the past decade, Sammy Hagar. After Hagar refused to record new songs for the Twister soundtrack, Roth stepped back in temporarily as Van Halen's vocalist. At the MTV event, Roth assumed his role as the band's spokesperson and quickly went off script. In front of a visibly irritated Eddie Van Halen, Roth joked around, saying, "It used to be, I want my MTV, and now it's like, give me your MTV or I'll blow your head off, man." This might have felt like a true reunion, but it wasn't. Eddie Van Halen told MTV that he felt Roth's behavior was embarrassing and disrespectful. He also said that Roth grew annoyed when Van Halen explained that not only did he have an upcoming hip surgery, but that all the band needed Roth for was a couple of songs on a greatest hits album and their videos. He goes, "Tonight's about me, man, and not your hip." The two nearly came to blows until a member of the band's staff got in the way. Van Halen started to force out
That's the thing I don't understand. I want to know where Sammy and David Lee's beef starts. Leave it in the comments because I have no idea where that stems from. I try to look it up and it only gives you few details. I want to know the real story. I want to get down. I want pause. I want to get down to where it really roots from, because it's weird. Sammy left and then Gary comes in and they get Dave back and they fire Mikey. That's the thing too. It's why you fire Mikey? I get it. I get it. Wolf Van Halen is your son, but Mike, I don't know. I feel like Mike can't do no wrong. I don't know.
Founding bassist Michael Anthony in the late 1990s.
As I was just saying, they get rid of Mikey, and it just tells me right now. I thought they had Sammy up there, so I thought they was talking about firing Sammy. All right, let's get into it now. Right when I was talking about him.
Away. Van Halen started to force out founding bassist Michael Anthony in the late 1990s. His contributions were scarce on the 1998 album Van Halen 3, and his participation in a 2004 summer reunion almost didn't happen. Anthony told Byrne, "Ed really didn't want me to be a part of it." He negotiated a deal with the band's management for less money than that received by other members of Van Halen. Anthony believes that the nastiness directed at him and former Van Halen singer Sammy Hagar stemmed from things they did off stage. Hagar opened a nightclub and a tequila brand, both called Cabo Wabo, named after a 1988 Van Halen song. Anthony told New York Magazine, "I think the club rubbed Eddie and his brother Alex the wrong way."
The 10th year in Van Halen, it just went sideways.
Anthony stayed friends with Hagar after Hagar left the band. He also produced a brand of hot sauce, Mad Anthony's Hot Sauce. He said that the Van Halens didn't like that either. Finally, in 2006, Eddie Van Halen fired Anthony and hired a replacement on bass guitar, his then 15-year-old son, Wolfgang Van Halen.
Exactly.
After leaving the band in 1996, Sammy Hagar returned 8 years later for a blockbuster.
What did he say?
A replacement on bass guitar, his then 15-year-old son, Wolfgang Van Halen. After replacement on bass. Finally, in 2006, Eddie Van Halen fired Anthony and hired a replacement on bass guitar, his then 15-year-old son, Wolfgang Van Halen. After leaving,
for some reason I thought it said hired like a temporary bass player, and I'm like, what the hell? He was the bass player until Eddie died. I was like, what the hell? But hired a replacement, which was his son. Okay.
the band in 1996, Sammy Hagar returned 8 years later for a blockbuster reunion tour, but he still had bad blood with Eddie Van Halen, and the tour bombed. Speaking in an interview with
Dude, just look at Eddie right here, man. He does not look good at all. Like, yeah, he probably there's a PV right there. I had a chance to buy an Eddie Van Halen PV, and I was like, I'm gonna hit the guy up next week. Ended up fucking selling it, dude. It was for like $600. It wasn't this color. It was like the color of the first Music Man that he came out with, and I was like, God, I was like, bro, I should have just bought it right there. But then I went out and I bought a Kramer, but just looking, man, he does not look good right here. This is why I wanted to watch this, because it gives you like every band has its good side, but every band also has a bad side. Like it's like, yeah, they were the greatest. They were this. Oh my God, they were gods. They were, oh my God, I wish I could do this like them and this and that. But it's like, all right, well, I want to hear the bad too. It's like it's not all fairy tales and rainbows. Like I want to know the bad too.
music journalist Sally Steele, Hagar said, "What happened on that reunion tour in '04 was some of the most miserable, backstabbing, dark crap I've ever been involved with in my whole life.
But I would never go through that again with anybody for any amount of money or any amount of fame and fortune or nothing."
Hagar tried to quit the tour entirely after 40 shows, but he ultimately didn't, fearing he'd be sued if he breached his contract. The months-long jaunt finished in Tucson, Arizona in November 2004. Hagar wrote in his memoir, Red, "It was the worst show we'd ever done in our lives. Eddie played so bad." The tour came to an explosive end when Van Halen melted down on stage. Eddie reportedly stopped playing in the middle of a song to smash his instrument, tearfully yelling to the audience, quote, "You don't understand." Van Halen didn't play in the mid-2000s, but Eddie Van Halen collaborated with other prominent musicians. At around that time,
Threatening Fred Durst, I heard about this. Left some gear and then pulled up to his house in a goddamn tank. That's wild.
according to Andrew Bennett's Eruption in the Canyon, 212 Eddie Van Halen, he met up with Limp Bizkit frontman Fred Durst. They got together at Durst's home in Beverly Hills, and not surprisingly, the jam session became a party. When someone started smoking marijuana, it bothered Van Halen so much that he rushed out, leaving his equipment behind. The next day, Van Halen tried to arrange a time to grab his stuff, but Durst didn't answer his calls. Durst's silence pushed Van Halen over the edge. Van Halen had recently purchased a tank at an auction, and he drove it to Durst's home. When Durst opened the front door, he was
Where the hell do you purchase a tank? Like, what auction house has a freaking tank for sale?
greeted by Van Halen, who pointed a gun at his face. An employee of Durst quickly gathered all of Van Halen's tech while the guitarist smoked a cigarette, keeping his gun trained at Durst. In 2004, Eddie Van Halen decided that he wanted to chronicle his creative process, so he hired music photographer and filmmaker Andrew Bennett to be his personal documentarian. Bennett at times recorded Van Halen 24 hours a day and even lived in the guitarist's home in 2006 and 2007. Despite all this time with Van Halen, Bennett never produced a documentary. Instead, Bennett self-published Eruption in the Canyon, a photo-rich memoir of the period. It wasn't a positive portrayal either. It covered Van Halen's many binge-drinking incidents, as well as a time that the guitarist held a gun to Bennett's head for 30 minutes. Van Halen reportedly never paid Bennett a promised $250,000, and so in addition to the book, the chronicler uploaded some of his video footage to the internet. Van Halen filed legal paperwork to get a judge to prevent the release of any more material, claiming ownership of anything Bennett shot. In 2020, Bennett told Billboard, "I'm more confused, disappointed, and hurt than angry. Ed gave me his word. He saw how hard I worked, and then he f***ed me over. That's what shocks me. That's not the person I know."
God damn. God damn. I mean, yeah, you listen to all like the bad stuff of like Eddie, and it's like, was he just going through like his alcohol days? It never fully came out if he was doing drugs, but like, come on, dude, you're a rock star. Like, I'm not holding nothing against you. I still love this fucking guy. I'm not holding nothing against nobody. Like, but it's like, when he was acting like that, you're like, is it this? Is it that? Is this why he was doing that? But I don't know, man. It's still Eddie's on the throne by himself as the greatest guitar player of all time. And I'm sticking to that. But yeah, that's 11 times Van Halen went too far. We just had to check this out. I just wanted to see what it's about, but that was pretty good, because Because it told me a lot of stuff that I didn't know, and then some stuff that I did know. But man, like I said, R.I.P. the king, the GOAT, the man that sits on the throne by himself once again. But that's 11 times Van Halen went too far. If you knew, hit that sub button, leave a like, comment what we should do next. If you guys want more Van Halen, just let me know. Leave it in the comments. Drop the links. Be like, hey, I know you probably listen to this song, but can you listen to it again? Like, come on, man. I'm all down for Van Halen on this channel. I think that's what kind of blew me up. Like when I got all these subscribers, because these are the most viewed videos on my channel, Van Halen. And then people are like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just... It's like, bro. They like take me for a hip-hop head. And I'm like, yes, I love hip-hop. I love 90s hip-hop. But it's like, I was listening to rock way before I was listening to hip-hop. Like, that's why I'll never react to System of a Down, Korn, Deftones, Smashing Pumpkins, Tool. Like, all of them. Like, that's what my pops was listening to. And then my mom was listening to rap. And then R.I.P. my grandparents. My dad was listening like Spanish music, like corridos and all that shit. And then my nana was listening to country, so it's like, growing up, I had all those genres, and it's like, you know what I mean? But, I don't know. But like I said, if you're new, hit that sub button, leave a like, comment what we should do next, man. You know who it is. It's Mario, aka Datway520. I am gone. Peace.